I hope that works. Hello, everybody. Thank you for making it out today. We are here live at the historic Parkway Theater in South Minneapolis. It's so wonderful to see all of your faces. Isn't that a funny joke that I just made? Like, I'm pretending that I can see you, even though you're at home, in your bra, sitting on your floor, eating ice cream with your hands. Just kidding. What if I could see through your camera? You better have a piece of tape over that because I don't trust this technology. If you can see me, who's to say that I can't see you? You should not trust that, just so you know. So I will give you a moment to cover that up because if all of a sudden you pop on my screen and this is like The Net, that amazing Sandra Bullock film from the 90s, where I do believe that the internet came through her computer screen and then started to mess with her life, which was, that was just fortune telling. Honestly, that's what that film was. Anyways, I'm Nora McInerny. It is a celebration of bad moms everywhere, and I definitely include myself. You do not need to be a mom to be here. You do not need to even have a mom. If you don't, lucky you. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, that's actually really messed up. I know Mother's Day is like extremely hard for a lot of people. And it's not like I'm its biggest fan, frankly. Like today, one of my children was like, "Is it Mother's Day?" And I was like, I mean, yeah, but you don't have to make a big deal out of it. And therefore, my youngest said, okay, and then looked at his father and said, "Daddy, you're the best mom ever." And then looked at me like, yeah, I said it. I said what everyone was thinking. Dad is the best mom ever. So that's where my self-esteem started today, just at a solid 6. And then from there, it stayed steady, honestly. I'm not feeling any better or worse. I do like this color on myself, if I can just take a moment to give myself a compliment. I love this color on me. Not Spawn, but I did get this at Evereve. And it's strange because like the sleeves are technically like short, but if I go like this, it just looks like I have normal sized people arms. And then it's a normal size shirt. Isn't it just a crazy optical illusion? Is that? Start. Give us one moment. Okay, we've never done this before, and also I think that my shirt commentary wasn't landing, so we're gonna start over. 1 second. BRB. And we're back. All right, so to get us back on track, because honestly, all of you had me way off track. I was like, can we focus? Let's focus in on what the point of today is. The point of today is to celebrate bad moms. Now, I wrote a book based on the movie. Yes, that is the opposite of how it usually goes, but here is what I am proposing. It shouldn't be. It should always go this way. No one should write any books until first there's a movie made, and then you get to take all of those characters and expand on them. And people keep asking like, "Oh my God, how did you get this project?" And they tend, honestly, when people ask me things, they're usually like, "How did you?" Like, of all people, you. How did you sad sack of a woman? Okay, a woman whose other book titles include "It's Okay to Laugh, Crying is Cool Too," The Hot Young Widows Club, No Happy Endings, a memoir, whose podcast is called Terrible. Thanks for asking. How did you end up writing a book based on a comedic film? And the incredulity, and that is a word that I should never try to say because I've never said it out loud. I've only written it. So that's how you can tell just how smart a person is. You got to look past the glasses to how they say things. Anyways, I try to look past that, how they're like, "Oh, you?" Because honestly, I don't truly recall like the all the events that led to this moment, but I do know that in 2016, I was secretly pregnant because sexism is very terrifying. And, just the state of the world that we live in did not give me a lot of confidence that as a contract employee who was suddenly pregnant, working on a project I'd never worked on before, that, really I would have a lot of job security if people knew that I was going to have experience this incredibly weakening physical event wherein I give birth to a human and then I'm required to like also take care of it and raise it and love it and feed it from my body or even from another place, which both invite all kinds of criticism from the outside world. So instead I thought, let's conceal that fact. Let's people call it compartmentalizing, and I did. I was like, I'll keep that baby in me. engage my core. It's like, so the difference is like, whoa, like, am I pregnant? If I'm sucking it, if I'm shoving that baby in against my gizzards, can you even tell? Like, yes, people could, and it just made things very awkward. They were like, we know, you just need to say it. And I was like, you know what? You don't know anything. This is how my body is built, okay? I carry my weight here and here and here. For some reason, when I'm pregnant, my knees just bust out. Like, these were just normal size pants. And then I got pregnant and I blew the knees out. This is not an artful, like, weathering of jeans. This is pregnancy knees popping out. That's what happened. So where were we? So I'm secretly pregnant. It's November. Things are heating up. November 2016. Don't know if anyone recalls like those days, but my husband's like, "Do you want to watch a funny movie?" And I was like, "Sure." And we watched Bad Moms, and I laughed so hard that I started to not feel great. And the next day, just a baby just popped out of me so quickly. I got to the hospital and I was like, "Hi, I would like an epidural." And they were like, "What?" I was like, "Well, I'm pregnant, but just epidural first, please." Numb me. And so thank God I got there in time, because I would have an epidural every day for the rest of my life. If that were on the table medically, if I could afford it, I would opt for a light paralysis to follow me through the rest of my days. It's so relaxing. You can't feel it. I was like, I gave birth with an epidural, and I was like, let's have another. Is there another in? Could you check? Dig around? No? Okay, well, and then the best part of an epidural is that you can't move, so no one can ask you to do anything. Like, you can just piss yourself, and I did, and I was like, no judgment. I can't do anything, and therein the balance of my relationship shifted. And my husband, from that moment on, started to do everything for me, because I could just say, I have an epidural, and he was like, well, I guess I have to take her word for it. Who am I to say? Anyways, a couple years passed. Try to stick with me, okay? If you're getting lost, it's 100% on you. It has nothing to do with the way I tell a story. So I watched Bad Moms. It put me into labor. A few years later, an agent that I work with, oh, fancy, what? Oh, what? Really? Yeah. So she called and she's like, have you ever seen Bad Moms? Would you like to write a movie based on it? And my gut said, Nora, you've never written any kind of fiction except for a 16-page, 16-font short story in third grade called Cabin Cats, which was a riveting tale about your grandmother's cats who lived at the cabin, and one got eaten by a neighbor's dog. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding that tale. It tore that very small community apart, 2 cabins divided by a ravine, and then also by the fact that my grandma's cat got eaten by her neighbor's dog, and they were not sorry. And honestly, you know who you are. And maybe someday the world will too, if Cabin Cats ever hits publication. I mean, there's a lot of information in that book, a lot of family secrets, like the fact that my grandma had 2 cats. Who would have known had I not brung that story out into the light? So my gut was like, no, Nora, you're a loser. You can't write fiction. You can't just make stuff up. Like, you can't just like lie. And then I was like, wait. What if I could? Your instincts have usually been pretty bad historically. If you just look at your dating history, your instincts are not spot on. So what if you ignore it? You push those feelings down. You take this phone call with these 2 dudes, Scott and John. Honestly, my expectations when working with men, especially creatively, are extremely low. But even if they would have been like moderately high, these guys leapt over it. They were so funny, and men aren't typically, and they're just so funny, and they were so generous and so creatively generous. And what I thought was going to be like a ghostwriting situation where the book would come out but my name wouldn't be on it turned into like a situation where like my name is honestly the first thing you see, which before my daughter saw this book cover, she said, you know what I hate? I hate when someone writes a book and their name is like on the top of it. It's just so cocky. And I was like, yeah, who would do that? But anyways, so I got to take their amazing story, their hilarious story, and all of these funny characters and give them a little bit more depth, make them, in my opinion, and also theirs, funnier, and just have so much fun with a project. But I didn't want to do it just because I was such a fan of the movie, although I am, because, Kristen Bell, oh my God, Catherine Hahn, Mila Kunis. I mean, Just the hits don't stop in that film. But also because motherhood is such, don't call it a journey. It is a rip-roaring ride through heck and some okay times. And then hopefully when you die, you have somebody to like wipe your butt. But it's it's really, really, really difficult. And I made this chart so that you could see scientifically, because I learned how to make a chart, and I spent a lot of time, upwards of 8 minutes, learning how to make a chart in Keynote. So thank you. Thank you for like that compliment. Were you like, whoa, oh my God, a chart. Let me just put on my glasses so I can see, yeah, this tracks. Never is your confidence in the kind of mothering you will do higher than before you have children. Then it takes a steady dip after you give birth. It continues to fall until your kids are sort of like at school age, and then it takes an upturn once they hit their teenage years. And I have to tell you, for people who are not there yet, it is a false sort of security, because really, just because you're not wiping their butts, you assume like you've done it, they're great, they're wonderful, they've got it. Then you get a call and you're like, wait, I'm sorry, whose child? No, that can't be right. I think I would know. And then you're like, do I? Turns out you don't. Not naming any names, but like, in our family, I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna name names, but like, who do you think it was? Okay? Exactly. Also, this same map follows my parents' journey, because their confidence was so high, / their fatigue also so high by the time my brother hit high school and I was in college, that they were like, Patrick, let's not name his name, a certain brother, and it could have been either. They were like, he's so great. Okay, he just, he goes on these long walks with his friends, and then they come back to the house and they just watch kids movies, like, Willy Wonka, and they just laugh so hard. And I was like, yeah, I bet they do. I don't know how people smoke drugs, but like, just imagine them they're like, what teenage boys are not just walking at the creek in groups? That was not true in the 90s. It's not true today. If your kids are going on a walk, they're doing drugs. Although now there's all these new ways for them to do drugs. So if you have a baby, it's never going to be easier. Even though it will also never be harder, because they can't tell you anything and they need so much. And you're like, just say it. And you're like, I wouldn't shake you, but like, I do understand why people have done that, because it's just so exhausting, which you can tell by the chart. The stress goes up. Other thing, effort falls very, very, very low around those teen years. But otherwise, you've got to keep your confidence high. You've got to keep your stress low. It's a mess, much like that chart. Okay? Now, before I had kids, this is kind of what I thought I would be like as a mom. I would be hand making all of my children's food. They would never eat a single piece of processed food unless I was hand turning those grains. And then I was turning those grains into granola bars, which actually I did DIY my own granola bars. And then I wrapped them in wax paper and sealed them with like non-toxic tape. What? I only had one baby at this point in time. And I say only one because now I have 4 kids and they live on garbage. I asked my kid the other day, I was on the phone with my other mom friend, and she's like, I literally have one. I was on the phone with a mom friend, and she had, her kid was eating like a truly balanced meal, like an honestly upsettingly balanced meal. Like he was like, well, I'm eating my cucumbers, and then I'm eating mangoes, and then, I'm eating this bread with visible seeds. We have a crisp white bread with a seed on it, and my kids are like, oh my God, there's a texture. I can't do it. No. This peanut butter is sugar-free. Like they're just such, what's the word, bitches. It's just like they are like truly first world kids, and then I'm trying to like draw from my own first world United States experience and be like, look here, in the 80s, some people had real problems, okay? Like we didn't have individually packaged fruit snacks, as far as I know. Okay, maybe we did, but my mom shopped at the Co-op. Do you know how disgusting that was to have a fruit roll-up that was really a fruit leather? Okay, do you want to eat a fruit leather? You don't know how good you have it. Eat a piece of fruit. And my kids are like, oh my God, I don't want to. Anyways, Anyways, I thought I was going to do all of this stuff, all of this stuff. And also, then I would also be leaning into my career because, like, why would I let something like, raising another person get in the way of my aspirations? And why couldn't I have it all? Isn't that what life is all about? And also to do it looking good, smelling good, feeling good, and showing no weakness. And honestly, I did get very close. This is my first child's first birthday. How high do you think that cake is? If you say 4 levels, you are correct. If you think my child ate a bite of that, hell no. No, 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 no. We celebrated his first birthday. He would not eat sugar, ever. I should note that this child refers to McDonald's as the Golden Arches, as if they are on like a nickname basis. That's later in life, though. At this point, my husband had cancer, I had a career, I had a child, and I had a Pinterest account, which truly, if you are a mom trying to keep your S-H-I-T, at the beginning, I was like, I'm not going to swear. It's like not as classy. And plus, I have gotten feedback before where people were like, don't like the swearing in your book. I'm returning it to the library, which honestly, I hope you would return a book to the library. That's like a civic duty. Anyways, I'm not going to lose my S-H-I-T. I'm going to do everything. I got very close. Look at that cake that my child is looking at with joy, but really, I gave him like bland pork. I was like, happy birthday, here's some protein. What? Poor kid. Then it was his first Halloween, and I spent all my nights after work, all of them, hot gluing pieces of felt to a... I don't know if anyone could see that I just spit all over myself. Probably not, but I like to make sure everyone knows the disgusting things I've done. If I pit out this shirt, you're darn tootin'. I'm going to show ya the dampness, okay? Because guess what? I have quit the natural deodorant game. I am now back on the Old Spice because my husband likes me to smell like a smelly man, not like a... how did he describe it? A bowl of old hot dog water, which is what I smell like when I wear natural deodorant. Some people can pull it off. Some people have a natural good odor. I do not. So when you combine it with other natural things, like the effect is honest to goodness hot dog water, which I find appetizing. I would chug it. But I'm also a person who would drink pickle brine and has with a straw. Anyways, enough about me. Let's talk more about this costume. He was a dragon. I don't want to give away too much of the plot of Game of Thrones, but calling yourself the mother of dragons when you had like one very simple baby, like just a standard issue baby, like no fuss, no muss. That kid was just like, came out and was like, well, okay, I will, I don't want to take up too much of your time and space. Looks like you guys are very busy. When you just have like one baby, it was like very cool to be like, I'm the mother of dragons. Like you were the mother of like a baby who's like pretty okay, and also like a dog who has dementia. But okay, so made this hot glue gunned outfit that was the effect of it was so heavy that he couldn't crawl in it because it weighed him down. Now, the next year I stepped it up and I made him a Dr. Octopus costume using things that I found at Home Depot. I have no business ever attending a Home Depot, and it was so heavy once I put the extra like arms on him, which were meant to evoke like a, some sort of, I don't know, Dr. Octopus, look it up, that he fell over and he couldn't wear it, so he put on part of an elephant costume and then part of a monkey costume, and he really ruined his dad's last Halloween before he died. So I just hope he knows that for the rest of his life, okay? You didn't go with the costume theme, and then your dad was Spider-Man, I had to be Dr. Octopus, and you were a monkey elephant? Ruiner. Anyways, I do not know where we got all of these standards. I don't know where we felt all of this pressure, but I know that I recognized a lot of that in these characters, and I wanted to have the opportunity to have fun with that and to laugh at that, because so much of motherhood is really just feeling awful about yourself, like really terrible. So I'm going to read a couple bits from the book. Again, the book is called Nora McInerny. The book is called Nora McInerny. Bad Moms the Novel. So. Also, I really just love feeling like the feedback that I'm getting from the audience is good. Like I can hear you cracking up and in no way shutting your browser window and requesting your $10 back. So that feels good to me. Thank you. Chapter 1. Welcome to Hell. To McKinley Mom Squad. From Gwendolyn James. CC Principal Burr, McKinley staff. BCC Gwendolyn James. Subject McKinley Mom Squad 2019, 3 exclamation points. Hello, mamas. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the leader of the McKinley Mom Squad, more commonly known as the PTA. I'm a mompreneur who runs the lifestyle blog that Reese Witherspoon called a must-read, link here. I'm passionate about empowering all moms to step into the fullness of the motherhood journey. My girls, Blair and Gandhi, are proud McKinley Mustangs, and I've loved every minute of our time at this award-winning institution of learning. I hope you're all having a restful summer. You know the girls and I have been squeezing every drop of joy out of these past 2 months. If you've missed any of my daily posts, you can click here to sign up for my weekly newsletter and here to follow me on Instagram. But no matter how many puppies we save from being put down or visits we make to the homebound elderly, there's nothing that makes us happier than knowing the first day of school is just around the corner. In fact, it's just 33 days away. Click here to download my back-to-school checklist and get 10% off your next order from Amazon. Attached, please find the McKinley Mom Squad contract. It's not just for new moms. We've had some significant changes to our programming since our last meeting, which were outlined in our weekly podcast, on our website, and in our email newsletter. Our 100% involvement rate doesn't happen by accident. It happens because all McKinley moms take the below contract seriously. Please note that this is not a legally binding document, but that signing it binds you to something greater. The sisterhood of mothers in your community who are raising their children alongside yours. Please make sure you sign and return this to me within 24 hours or you will be placed on immediate probation. Looking forward to getting to know all of you this coming school year. In love and style, Gwendolyn James, aka Gwendolyn James Style. So that sets up our villain. And the hero of the book and the movie is whatever character you like best. I will maintain my impartial nature as an author and as a fan, but my favorite is obviously Carla. But I also identify heavily with Amy, and this is part of Amy's first chapter. Amy is just, this is the first day of school. She's just dropped her kids off. And, you know, she's just like feeling like a little stressed out. And then she runs into Gwendolyn. I don't know how you do it, Gwendolyn sighs. You leave your kids all day and go to work? You're so strong. I hesitate, startled by the brazen backhanded compliment and unsure how to respond. Gwendolyn frowns, mistaking my silence. You do work still, right? I catch her eyeing my blazer, which, has a little bit of cream cheese on the lapel. Yeah, I say, trying to smile. I work. Well, she says, that's probably why I haven't heard back from you about this year's Mom Squad fiscal plan. Fuck. Maybe 49 hours had passed since she sent her last email, and no, of course I hadn't replied. I'd intended to reply, but I barely have time to read my emails, let alone reply them. I'm sure somewhere in my millions of drafts of unsent emails, there are at least 30 replies to Gwendolyn, each attempting to say as politely as possible, please just assign me a committee or push me off a cliff, your choice. You didn't get my reply? Oh, I say, playing dumb as I scroll through my phone. I'll resend it. I bet it got caught in your spam filter. Gwendolyn smiles charitably, her teeth so white they look nearly iridescent. She has a face so pretty you really have to hate her, and a personality to match. Oh my God, I know. It's just so funny, guys. I agree, and I can't get enough of it. Okay, so Kiki is, honestly, she's also my favorite character. Kiki is a stay-at-home mom. In the movie, she's played by Kristen Bell. And while none of these actresses have literally anything to do with the book, what if they did? What if they're all reading it right now? A girl can dream. Anyways, Kristen Bell's characterization of Kiki gave me so much to work with, and I had so much fun kind of imagining what was behind her and a little bit of her backstory and what it feels like to be her, to feel like she doesn't really fit in with any of the moms at school, which honestly is how most of us feel most of the time. So I decided that Kiki was from North Dakota. Okay, I made a judgment call, and there's a lot of UND references. Before Bernard was born, I thought of motherhood as a club I joined the moment I gave birth. My baby would be the equivalent of receiving a mom card. I could present Bernard to any other mother to instantly form the bonds of friendship. Instead, I found out that there were lots of different kinds of moms, and you could only befriend the moms who completely subscribed to the exact same list of beliefs and practices that you did. This was determined swiftly and often without a conversation. Once, when Bernard was very little and I was pregnant with Clara and he was absolutely losing his mind in the grocery store checkout line, I handed him my phone just to get him to stop fussing. It wasn't even unlocked. I just knew screen time was bad. It was just the phone itself he wanted. Just holding it got him to stop screaming. In that silence, I heard a gasp behind me, and a mom reached across my cart to snatch the phone from Bernard's chubby little hands. He screamed, and I stood there dumbfounded while this stranger explained to me that my phone was absolutely crawling in germs and that it was dirtier than a toilet seat. I have never gone back to that grocery store. Motherhood for me has been a series of interactions like this, of mothers sizing me up and then gently or not so gently closing their circle. I tried the crunchy moms, whose kids have never eaten sugar and who only play with non-toxic recycled handmade toys cobbled by local artisans. They're the moms who told me that Legos are an assault on our ecosystem and that soy is going to give Bernard cancer. Then I tried the attachment moms whose kids can breastfeed until they decide not to. They all seem to like harem pants. Kent said that harem pants make it look like I'm wearing a full diaper. The attachment moms were nice, but when they found out that Bernard slept in a crib, they started sending me links about co-sleeping and then stopped posting their meetups in the Facebook group. There are the tiger moms, but they scare me. I wasn't intense enough to keep up, and Bernard refused to participate in any extracurriculars, even as an infant. I tried the fit moms, but I couldn't keep up with them either. The stroller size classes were hard enough, but I can't train for a 5K while pushing 4 kids in a stroller. Their motto was strong as a mother, but my mother smoked throughout my pregnancy so that I'd be a smaller baby, and I don't think my lung capacity is as good as it would have been if she'd at least cut back to 2 or 3 cigs a day. There are cool moms, of course, but they terrify me. How are you supposed to keep up with all the new memes and novelty teas with punny phrases on motherhood and wine? How do you make your hair messy on purpose? I still don't know what kind of mom I am, but I am determined that this year will be different. A new start for me. I won't just be a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids. I'll be a stay-at-home mom with a kid who's in school. I'll be part of the mom squad, and I'm going to be friends with Gwendolyn. So Kiki really wants to fit in. She kind of wants to find her people. Amy doesn't think that she has the time for people, and Carla doesn't want any of it, and that is why she is such a fun character to write. So this is one of Carla's chapters. Chapter 7. You don't need to know that. I just felt like I should read everything on the page. What of it? There's a reason why I use a flip phone. Well, there are lots of reasons, but here are the most important ones. 1, the government has a harder time tracking them. An iPhone is probably real slick, but I don't need the CIA knowing what I look up on the internet. That's also why I use my library card when I need to Google something. It's nobody's business what kind of rash I have, and I want to keep that between me and WebMD. 2, Russians will watch you through that stupid camera phone, and if I'm going to be on camera, I want advance warning, and I don't want it to be at that weird angle where my neck looks like an elephant leg coated in self-tanner. We know that angle. I would be holding a phone. That's the angle you would get right now. 3, I don't need all that email shit. I mean, I have an email address, but that's only because I need something to give to salespeople that isn't my phone number. My phone number is a prize to be won, not something I'm handing out at Walgreens so they know what kind of vitamins to give me coupons for. How about no vitamins? How about a coupon for NyQuil or nicotine gum or something useful? Giving my phone number is like giving them my home address. Giving someone my email address is like telling them, good luck finding me. Now, not everyone has the luxury to just not email. I know I'm blessed. I'm lucky to have a career where I'm not sitting at a desk all day replying to messages from John in accounting about where the invoices are for whatever thing. I'm lucky to not be sitting at home wiping nuts and butts nonstop. When I was in high school, I took a series of tests with my guidance counselor to help me figure out what to do with my life, but I already knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be my guidance counselor. Lisa, and she never let us call her Ms. McCarthy, was smoking hot. She was the only teacher at our school who wore heels in the winter, when this godforsaken place is covered in feet of snow for months at a time. She'd wear her frumpy winter boots only as far as the lobby, then change right into a pair of stilettos. The other teachers thumped around, but Lisa click, click, click down the hallway, tight skirt hugging that ass. She reminded me of my mom, only employed, and she had a way of looking into your eyes that made your skin feel hot and your brain feel loose in your head. I found myself saying things to her that I hadn't said to anybody else, spilling my little teenage guts all over her floor and taking a tissue and she gently slid them across her desk towards me. My mom always told me I should get a job in a correctional facility so I could find a man, but I wanted to make people feel like Lisa made me feel, like they mattered. And thanks to all those tests, that's exactly what I do. Every day, I wake up, put on my face, hike up my tits, and make the world a more beautiful place, one vagina wax, one manicure, one facial at a time. I know more about the women of our city than their husbands, their best friends, and their therapists combined. By the time they get to my table, they've spent 15 minutes sipping cucumber water in the sunroom, 10 minutes listening to nature sounds and having an aromatherapy experience, and anywhere from 30 to 45 years saving up their deepest secrets and insecurities. The rules of my table are the same as a therapist's office. It's a safe space, and I won't tell anyone about the hole your child punched through your labia during childbirth, or about the confusing weekend you spent with your best friend from college where you maybe had sex, but does it count as sex if it's mainly hands? It does. What's funny to me is how my table works like a two-way mirror. These women pour out their secrets to me like they're cheap liquor on Thirsty Thursdays. They tell me things they haven't told anyone else in their lives. Things they probably don't even admit to themselves when they're paying $35 to sit in a dark room riding a bike that doesn't even fucking go anywhere. And you know what they know about me? Nothing. They don't know my last name or my star sign. They don't know that I'm a mom or that I rely on whatever they choose to write into that tip area when they sign their credit card slip as they go. These women, who I see every day at the grocery store or at school pickup, they don't see me like I saw Lisa. They don't see me at fucking all. Wow, God, honestly, don't clap. Thank you. I'm just like slightly embarrassed. It's fine. I'm just checking my watch because honestly, I do have this magical ability / I don't know, maybe like a little bit of like a cognitive issue where I cannot tell how much time has elapsed ever. So if you tell me to be somewhere, you're going to need to tell me when to leave and when to also get out of my car. And if you listen to me talk, we could be here all day or not. Like I could have stopped this in 30 seconds and been like, that felt like an hour, or I could have been talking for an hour and been like, how am I going to fill the rest of the next 55 minutes? I don't know. Anyways, we're doing fine. So I loved writing this book. I loved being able to explore and laugh about all of our common insecurities. And it really did, makes you think. Okay, have I put it out yet? Little bit. Oh my, by little bit, I mean so much dampness. So much, not even dampness. It is a wet pit situation that we are dealing with. In what world? Please find me a shirt I can wear where I don't and the rest of my body's cold. All my heat, right here, okay? Right here. Nothing. My legs are numb. Pits, just bursting. Bursting. Great. That felt like a good segue. Anyways, makes you think, couldn't help but wonder, where we got this from. I watched a lot of like old TV as a kid, and I was like, where did this collective insecurity as mothers come from? And I was not about to do any like actual research or read like an additional book. So I just thought to like, my own pop culture influences. And it was like, was it Carol Brady? It's like, no, she had a housekeeper and like she didn't have a job and she barely raised her kids. I went there, honestly. Like she would always come in at the end. I'm like, where have you been this whole time while your kids have been making huge life decisions / mistakes, Carol? Where you been? So it wasn't Carol. She didn't have it all. And then I was looking at like movies I liked and, I don't know. There's just like not a lot of really great examples. I really liked Mrs. Doubtfire. And honestly, that movie has like a really messed up message where like the mom was successful, just successful. And the dad was like a loser, frankly, like, played beautifully by Robin Williams, rest in peace. But like the dad as a character was a dud, and then like used that against the mom and then tricked her, deceived her. Like he did a lot of things that were just irresponsible parenting. And, she was fed up. No wonder he couldn't see his kids. And, I'm not going to get into the politics of Mrs. Doubtfire, but the point is that was also not a great representation of motherhood. We just, I don't know. Who knows where it came from? It sure as heck did not come from the generations ahead of us, behind us, above us, upwards of our family tree. Who knows? This is my grandparents. These are my grandparents, Vivian and Austin McInerny. This is not them with their grandchildren. No. This is them with their children. 8 out of 9 of their children. Where's the 9th one? TBD. TBD, that's my dad. I don't even know if he's in there yet, but he's about to be. These old people are still doing it, even though they've got 8 children, even though the 4 behind them are all legal adults. My dad, my grandmother, rest in peace, died before I met her, but you can see where I get like part of my face from. So the story that my dad loved to tell was that when his mother found out that she was pregnant with him, she cried tears of regret and devastation because she was hoping that she had reached menopause and she could stop having children and possibly, honestly, probably stop having sex with my grandpa. He was kind of a handsome man, but also all I remember about him is that he smelled like cigarettes and big red gum, and that is not an enticing combination, okay? Also, he had a lot of anger problems. Anyways, knocks Viv up. She's like 45. She's been a mom at this point for 22 years. She has been birthing, nursing, raising, cooking. She thinks she finally has a break. Her youngest child is 9, and she's got to start all over. And she has to start over at the same time that her daughters-in-law are having their first children. So my dad is born to these older parents, and it's super, it's a little bit parched, his childhood, I would say, to use a phrase borrowed from my friend, the novelist, and also an autobiographist, memoirist, Danny Shapiro. Anyways, she's a smart person. Somebody described me recently as unpretentious, and they kept saying it, and I was like, what are you really trying to say? Like, you could just say not as smart, but thank you. Anyway, so my grandmother's pregnant, and the way that she repeats this story to this child is it's indelible to my dad. Like, oh yeah, I did not want you. Like, I was extremely devastated. I was hoping I would fall down the stairs. I was hoping anything would happen. You still arrived. You are here. I am tired. Please graduate. And part of that, and also my dad was like, oh, my mother was a saint. My mother was a saint. Did I ever tell you when I was 12 years old, she caught me smoking? Never said a word about it. Never said a word about it. Never said a word about it. When I went up to bed that night, there's an ashtray next to my bed. And I was like, so I'm sorry, what's the moral of this story? Like, so are you going to ignore when I smoke a cigarette in 6th grade, which I never would do because I was part of the smoke-free class of 2001 until I was like 18, because what my dad did not say is that sometimes if you like a boy who smokes and you smoke, he will still not notice you. Damn it. But then all of a sudden it's like, it feels so good. It keeps you skinny. There's just so many reasons to do it. So anyways, that's one of the matriarchs of our family, is a woman who thought it appropriate to tell my father how little she wanted to be his mother. That story became a part of family lore, and then also was the kind of person who would give her 12-year-old an ashtray so that he could smoke in bed, but have a safe place to put that cigarette. Because if you're gonna smoke, you gotta do it responsibly, and you should probably be doing it indoors right before you fall asleep. It's a mother's love. It's a mother's love. Now, this brings me to my own mom. The book is dedicated to her. I believe I called her the original bad mother, which is possibly not true. But by 2020 standards, my mom would be in prison, and I don't even mean jail. But by any other standards, by like 1920 standards, The only measure of being a good mom was that you had a kid. That was it. They didn't even all have to live because there were so many other things that could kill them besides just your own negligence or dislike for them. It was like if you had a kid, you're a mom. Great. Don't have to be good or bad. It is just a completely neutral experience. Same 50 years ago. Same 37 years ago, same. 20 years ago, pretty much the same. The 80s and 90s were a blessed time. I should also say that my mom's mom also had 9 kids, and they did an okay job. Only 20% of my uncles have been to jail. 0 to prison, but 20% in jail is not a bad ratio. So my mother became a mom in the 70s, really hit her stride in the 80s. As you can tell, this is where I come on the scene. Now, we have a lot of lore in this family when it comes to my mother. We call her Madge. Her grandmother name, which she selected herself, is not Grammy. It is not Nanny. It is not Nana. It is not Bubba. It is Madam. So if you hear children running up the street, Madam, that's her. That's her. She does that on purpose. And please do not try to call her grandma. It is not going to land. It's not going to click. She won't respond to it. Some people do think that the character is Moira Rose and the mom from Arrested Development were based on my mother. I cannot confirm that, but I do think that she has grown into both of those characters quite nicely. And honestly, she has something that they don't, which is a basic top 10 of bad mom moments that honestly in the 80s and 90s were just considered mom moments. Let's talk about my older brother being 5 years old. He's outside. I don't know where you're all tuning in from. I can't stop touching my face. You're not supposed to touch your face anymore. If anything, I was hoping COVID-19 would cure me of my need to pick at my face and pick my nose and look at me. I'm on camera and I can't stop doing it. Can't stop doing this either. There we go. Okay? There we are. It's honestly, and then when the damp fabric touches your body, you feel not great. But you do feel great having one of these because I feel like, am I Celine Dion? Like there were nights when the wind, mighty frozen man. Anyways, back to my mom. My brother's 5. It's Minnesota. That's where I was going. It's Minnesota. It's cold here. And when it's cold, you should put your children outside. You should tell them play amongst yourselves. Your sister's 7, you're 5. Obviously, if you just go up to the park alone, like nothing bad can happen. My brother is a small child. He's at the bottom of a hill. He wants to play in the snow. My sister is 7. Again, not much older than him, but has a couple friends on this sled. And she's like, dude, move out of the way. And he's like, no. And she's like, move. He's like, no. She's like, fine. And they go down the hill and they're picking up speed and they run over his tiny little legs. And he cries, but he cries at everything. So, you can't take it that seriously. But my sister, because she's a good person, puts him in the sled, drags him home. And my mother looks at him, assesses the injury, decides he's obviously just like complaining about nothing, puts Ben Gay on it. He does have a broken leg. And Ben Gay has so many healing properties. It can make your skin tingle. And that's not to be, we don't want to minimize the effectiveness of Ben Gay. I love to use it. I love to just have just a light tingle on my skin that does nothing for the rest of my body. But it will not heal a bone, unfortunately. And I do think that the science in the 80s had already proven that. But you know what? My mom had to test it out. And also, she was in the middle of cooking dinner. And also, honestly, my brother is a complainer. What would you do? Now, time rolls on. She has another baby. It's her favorite. Her name is Nora. It's like, what was love before then? People are like, well, you don't love any of your kids more. She's like, but this one I do. Like, what was I thinking? Why didn't I just start with this one? She loves this baby so much that, she puts her oldest daughter, who's at this point 9 years old, puts this oldest daughter in charge of her baby sister. Her baby sister cannot walk, but she's in something that is now outlawed, and it is just a circular device. Now imagine this, like you just put your baby in a circle of plastic. They can dangle from what is basically a diaper suspended from plastic. On the bottom of this circle are 4 rickety legs that also have wheels on them, so a baby can sort of walk slightly assisted. That does not mean they should be unsupervised, but a 9-year-old girl who has a crush on the boy next door is obviously going to get a little bit distracted, and the next thing you know, that baby is at the bottom of the concrete steps out front. The Polish lady across the street has found her and is screaming at you in Polish, and you, the mother, are like, Megan, you were supposed to be watching the baby. Ugh. Now, time rolls on. Okay, the years go by. This daughter of hers, the younger one, much younger, 9 years. Not to like keep bringing that up, but when people see me and my sister, who is in a day working, also it is worn off, and that is how we are all carrying this pandemic differently. Okay, some of us are really giving up their looks, and that is, whew, whew. Anyway, so this daughter gets a little bit older. And like kind of a big deal. It's sort of odd. You dress up like a little groom or a little bride, and then you eat the body of Christ, and it's like literally turned into the body of Christ. And they really want you to love that and to drink Christ's blood, and everybody's there. And you do get checks. You do get money, so that is a benefit. However, my mom is not there to watch her little groom get married to Jesus because she's in Europe with some friends. Now, who can fault her? Honestly, if you've seen one communion, you've seen them all. Also, it's just the first communion. There will be more. There will be more communions. This is just one, okay? Now, Nora gets older. What? Yeah, I'm the baby. Okay, I'm the baby at the bottom of the stairs. All right. So I get a little bit older. I get sassier. My mom and I are arguing a lot. She slaps me twice. I deserve it, frankly. And I would have probably been, if I could go back, I would tell you got to slap me more. You got to slap me like 2 to 3 times a week because I'm not getting it. And I keep telling you it doesn't hurt, when in fact it does hurt. And it also makes me, well, I guess it actually didn't really help. But I cannot imagine the physical restraint it took to not assault a teenager because they're so annoying and they're just so rude. And I was very rude. And I got in a fight with my mother, and I was driving the car up Highway 100. It's at the time it was a 2-lane highway. Cuts north-south through the western suburbs of Minneapolis. And I was being insolent, and my mother had enough, and she ejected the Destiny's Child mix CD. I'd paid $10 to have Kyle, he will remain slightly anonymous, but CD burners had just come out. It was like 1999, cusp of 2000. And he was burning CDs, making mixes for us for $10 a piece, which felt like a deal because a regular CD was 20 and this one was slightly crappier. And also you could not rely on Kyle, but I'd paid $10 for this CD. My mom ejected it and threw it out the window on a freeway. And I just remember being like, wow, good job littering. Good job littering. Wow, Mom, our planet is crying. And now, years later, I was right, and climate change can be traced back to my mother flinging a CD out on the highway as if we've got a planet B, okay? And we don't. So, jury's out here. Now, we're going to have to go back in time for this one because my brother who had the broken leg, we were all in the backyard. Dad was about to grill some steaks. This is a big deal because it's, the 80s. We don't have a ton of money, which, kids can always tell. They can tell. I could tell when my mom was buying me generic crayons, the kind that have no pigmentation to them, where you're like, is this yellow or orange? I can't tell. And also using coupons to buy those, I was like, oh yeah, shit's bad. Shit is bad. So it was in those same years that my brother was in the backyard. He was playing this game where he would stand on a chair, and then he would jump to a clothesline. For those of you who are not familiar, in the olden days, we used to have to hang our clothes up outside. And they would dry by the wind or by the sun or not at all, and you would go to sleep in damp sheets, but whatever. So my brother would jump and try to hang from I don't know, from the clothes dryer tea thing. The point is, he was being a daredevil. Not really. He was jumping not that far and not that high. And he fell, and he was crying, and he was 13. And I remember being like, oh my God, he's really hurt. And my parents were like, honestly, bud, we are grilling steaks here. So we need you to go inside. You can have an ice pack. If you are really injured, we will give you some Bengay. But, you better be really hurt if we are going to waste Bengay on you. I mean, we've had this one tube since you were 5. We can't just be slapping Bengay on every slight injury that we have. So my brother, goes inside, he lays down. He does take the Bengay because, anything helps at this point. And then he does turn green. He does go into shock, and he does go to the hospital where he is diagnosed with a broken arm. Is that all my mom's fault? No, but it's just so much more fun to make fun of her because our dad is dead. And the blame's got to go somewhere. And as our father raised us to know, his repeated phrase raising us was, it all comes down to bad mothering. Okay, anything. Point at something in the world. Well, did you check out the mom? And he was mostly joking. But also, was he? Because his mom gave him an ashtray at age 12 and repeatedly told him that he was an unwanted baby. So, did he have unresolved issues? Who knows? Because therapy had not been invented in that era. It had been, but I mean, we obviously weren't doing it. That was for like rich people or like legit people who very much needed it. And honestly, just like, what are you gonna do? Have like some light mommy issues and go to therapy? Answer: yes. So, because I do write stuff down. I know that you think like I'm just winging it all, but I did write some stuff down because I wanted to note that we tell these stories mostly lovingly. Our love language in our family is abject scorn and mockery. So if we are not actively making fun of you, you should be worried. You should be worried. You might be on the outs. Okay, you might be on your way out. And every family, obviously operates a little bit like a business, right? I mean, haven't you okay, slight segue, but like now it's like the funny thing. It's not, but people are like, oh, like here's a picture of me with my colleagues, and it's like them like working at home while their kids try to distance learn, and everyone's like, yeah. But I'm like, actually, they are kind of like your colleagues because your worst job is like a dysfunctional family, and honestly, your kids are kind of like those worst employees where you're like, why are you cutting your nails right now? Why? That's not something we're doing. And also, you left the nails on the floor. Who's gonna sweep those up, Greg? Who's going to sweep? I don't have a kid named Greg, by the way. This is a pointed message to an old coworker. All right, we know who microwaves fish. My kids can't microwave fish because we don't have a microwave because I'm a psycho, okay? And I'm like, you can have your food cold or slow, all right? You don't need hot, stinky fish or really any kind. Plus, I just don't want another appliance. Anyways, I do think that there's kind of something funny there to those, like the colleague jokes because, my kids are literally the worst coworkers I've ever had. And yet, I don't know. We'll have to see how the end of this quarter comes. We might have to make some cuts. And honestly, it's always last one in, first one out. Babies are more expensive. The thing is also like the expenses of children, they do sort of taper off for a while. Like older kids, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's getting like they're getting slightly affordable. I don't have to they go to school, which is way less than daycare, slightly or free even. Hello, public school. Thank you. What a gift. Thank you, taxes. Thank you for everyone who pays taxes. Also, I pay my taxes with glee because I'm like, yes, school for everyone. Roads, water. I love it. We got to get back on track. Again, who started me on that? Which one of you? Had enough. But I was going to make like a nice little gentle segue, which is like we make fun of my mom because we actually really love her. Okay, even though when I got married, she dropped off a whole box of my belongings labeled Nora's Life, and they included Valentine's I gave her. She regifted me Valentine's I had handmade her. If you got that Valentine from a love interest, you'd be like, psycho. Like, look at the writing, but my last words are I love you. It was a whole ass poem I wrote about how much I love her because here's the thing, our kids don't know any better. They don't know any better. They love us so much, even though for a significant part of their lives, all we are to them is a pair of knees, a pair of butts. A pair of butts? Yeah, a pair of butts. I got 2 butts, okay? And we are just like the front-facing iPhone photo that you don't know you're taking. That is their view of you. Is this and just some thighs. That's all they see. And then eventually they're just crotch. That's all they're just yelling at your crotch constantly, okay? Our kids don't know any better. Our kids already think that we are the best. And then we grow up and we are so tired and we look back at our mother the way I look back at my mom and I think, oh my God, we had a dad, by the way, but where was he when we needed to be picked up? He was golfing, okay? We're like, what the heck? Where was he? Well, he was like, well, bad mothering. He was like, well, see ya, peace out. Our mom worked in advertising in the 80s, in the 90s. It is still a deeply sexist industry, but it sure as heck was when she was starting out and she was, trying to, like, there were no breast pumps and feeding rooms. She was just, like, literally milking herself into a dirty ass sink in the back of a photo studio. Just trying to make casual conversation. She always liked to talk about what a good baby I was, because she could bring me to work, shove me under a table, and nobody would notice. Now, that is a mark of a dysfunctional workplace, but that's the era that she was raising kids in, where motherhood was a weakness, and you could not show weakness if you wanted to have a job, have a career, and keep your feds kid. Keep your feds, yeah, that's what people say. I gotta keep my feds kid, all right? I gotta keep my kids fed, all right? And you have a husband who acts as if, really, I mean, could he make a dinner? I don't know. When my mom was in Europe, we ate these terrible hot dogs that had cheese in the middle. Even the idea of them makes me want to puke right in front of you. I could do it right now. You want to see me do it? I'll puke on demand. I'd do it. And we had to eat them all. We had to eat all of them because my dad was like, I bought them, you'll eat them. And we were like just eating plain boiled hot dogs with a thin little sliver of putrid fake cheese injected into the middle while my mom was having high tea. And good for her, because what she was really teaching me is that you do not have to sacrifice your identity at the altar of motherhood. My mother showed me what it was like to have a career you love, to have children you love, to live a life where you invest in your friendships and you take trips to Europe, even if, yes, you miss the communion, and then a decade later, you do miss your older children's college graduation, but frankly, it took them 6 years, so what are they complaining about? How could you have possibly timed that? She planned those trips pre-internet, by the way. She couldn't just be like, great, I'm gonna jump on travel. She was like, she would have had to call somebody. And yes, that was socially acceptable at the time, but was she going to do it? No. So I don't think that there are actual bad moms. I think that there are just moms. But even if there were good moms, I wouldn't want to be one, because good moms can't raise kids who leave you love notes like this. Okay? I found this in my home. My child is 7. He's obviously a genius. I don't think I need to brag about that, but he can spell both butt and ass. And if you had a hard time reading that, it's because he is terrible at holding a pen, and trying to get him to write anything is like pulling teeth. And my mom did that over and over and over and over again. But because of my mom, I know that this is the kind of thing that I should leave on my own child's doorstep when he gets married. And also, I know that this is high art. Okay, this is what my children drew on their wall. If you cannot tell, it is a creature eating another creature's butt, and that creature is screaming, "Oh no, not my butt poop." Not my butt poop. And then around it, I was like, what are all these other things? And he was like, those are penises. That's a penis with a shell on farting, also known as a turtle, but honestly, think about them. They're really just shelled penises. Then there's a penis over there floating, and there's a penis below it with a face, and he's smiling. So that's pretty great. So here's to the original bad mom, Margaret McInerny. Please do not call her that. Her name is Madam. And to all of you, thank you for being here tonight. It's 4:59. Hell yeah. I did that impeccably and absolutely planned every single word that I said. Wait, hold on. Is there anything else? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's a good sentence. Your kids don't give a shit if the cupcakes are ugly. I think that goes without saying, but I hope that you all take that forward with you into this new year. I promise that I will always judge you as a mom. Always. I will always be judging you, but just to deflect my own self-judgment. The last thing I'm going to read is from this book. Acknowledge. I'm just kidding. Hold on. Okay. The Bad Mom's Pledge. I, put your name there, it's blank, agree to the following terms and conditions of motherhood, which are inevitable and irrevocable. This pledge is not legally binding, but it is karmically binding, probably. We run late. Sometimes very late. Look, if we say we're on the way, we haven't left the house yet, and that has to be okay, because getting out of the house is hard enough on your own, but when your kid forgets his backpack every single day, and he's 17, we're trying here. We let teachers teach and coaches coach. Well, we used to let teachers teach. Pandemic humor. Now we're teaching, and we regret every parent-teacher conference where we tried to give you tips about our kids. Turns out our kids are fucking animals. Animals. And you had 30 of them in a classroom all day. And I doubt you yelled at them the way I do. I start my day with a nice shout, a scream, a holler. Today, I woke up at 9 o'clock and I was like, where are the kids? And Matthew said, your gift is that you don't have to yell at them for another half hour. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then they came in and the baby said that dipshit. Anyways. And then it was all over. It was all over. And tomorrow it's just going to be me arm wrestling a 7-year-old to get him to sit down and watch a YouTube video, which is all he wants to do anyways, but this one's educational. So he's like, can't do it. Can't do it. And I'm like, look, none of us can do this. Anyways, back to the chapter. We let teachers teach and coaches coach. If you're thinking about being a dipwad about this, don't. Childhood is a series of failures meant to prepare our children for life. We let our kids fail and we let themselves pick themselves up. We let them pick themselves back up. Get it together. Motherhood is a no judgment zone. And we hereby reserve all judgment for people participating in reality TV. Joking! We judge each other all the time because we're still struggling to deprogram ourselves from generations of patriarchy. But we judge ourselves most harshly, and we gotta cut that crap out too. On our worst days, we're sure we have no idea what we're doing. Guess what? We don't. But our kids probably don't know that. They love us anyway. We're not just moms. We're cool moms and earth moms and attachment moms and detachment moms. My mom. We're weird moms, old moms, young moms, single moms. We're gluten-free moms and short moms and funny moms and gay moms and tall moms and sleepy moms. We are the forgetful tooth fairy, the life makers and gift givers. We're the owie kissers and the snack providers and the butt wipers. Some days, we're just a walking Kleenex. We're bad moms, which is the only damn kind of mom worth being. And there's a little place for you to sign it. Cute. Thank you for being here, guys. That concludes my my talk for this evening. I want to, first of all, don't close that window. You never know what I'll do. Show you my armpits. This is part of a coordinated effort, is a highly strategic plan, wherein I am trying to do my best to keep small businesses here after the fact. The Parkway Theater is a small business. Thank you for being here and helping to support them. Eventually, we will be able to gather, and I hope that we are able to gather here again. If you have not bought this book, any of my other books, all my other books, any book from any author ever, go to subtextbooks.com. My goal with this book, with this book, is to have them get so many orders that they are set for the rest of the year, even if we don't open. I want to pay all their bills, all their payroll with orders of this book. Go ahead, order it. I want them to get to work tomorrow and just have so much anxiety. Like, how will we fill all these orders? What has Nora done to us? I want them terrorized and also comforted by your order. So go ahead and do that. Thank you to Lauren and Matt and Craig for showing up here at a distance to make sure that this got on the internet. Lord knows I couldn't have done it by myself. You ever see me try to make a Zoom call? It's hell. Anyways, bye. Happy Mother's Day. Later.